All right. Good morning, everybody. Gonna do a quick one this morning before we head down to Indianapolis. It is Combine Week. All right, we have absolutely nobody in this morning, but that's okay. I'm going to try to get through this as quick as I can because I've got to finish packing and get out of here. But welcome into Rise and Grind Morning Show. It is Combine Week. If you're not excited, then you don't love football because that's what this week's all about, man. It's the beginning of the new season. Even though the new league year has not come yet, it will be here shortly. And before you know it, free agency is going to be over, and then we're going to be upon the draft, and we're already talking about OTAs, and away 2026 goes into the next new league year. So this morning, I wanted to kind of go through my top 50, and the reason why I've been so delayed on putting stuff out. You know, last year, I think I didn't really put a lot of things out until after the Combine. I mean, it's kind of what I wait for. I hate to put out a bunch of stuff and then have to retract it all. I mean, I know, all the people that do this for a living, that all they do is draft work. All they do is draft, analysis. They're pumping stuff out left and right, and good for them because it gives people a lot to think about. For me, it's a little bit different. Even though I love the draft, it is like the most important part of my season. I'm just a little bit delayed because I'm not there, right? I'm not in the conversations. I'm not in the meetings. I'm not at the practices. I don't have $1 million budget for flights. So until I get there, we're just going to keep on doing what we're doing. Now, hopefully that'll change as I've had conversations with people. I might be able to come on as a scout in training and get my way that way, or make my way that way. But until that happens, we're just going to continue doing the process as I always do, which is watch a lot of film and a lot of highlights. More film, though. Highlights are okay if you're looking to just get some quick information, but they don't really give you much. The film is what's most important. Watching the games and then the cut-ups, getting all the cut-ups of individual plays. I subscribe to a few different people that are able to give us all these cut-ups and have a couple of contacts that help me out as well. Obviously, I can't use that stuff. Now, this week is different for us. Eric's going to be coming with me, and hopefully we have a banger of a week. We're credentialed for the Combine, our first season doing this, so it's going to be a lot of look and learn, kind of figure out how things are going, and then today or tomorrow, is Brad and Dan right away. So that's our main focus for tomorrow, getting set up. I got a nice little luxury apartment for us, so we're nice and comfortable, and we're not too far away, so we can set up. I'll probably set up everything there to do night shows. I don't know if I'm going to do Radio Row this week. We'll see. I'll let you all know. Even if I do, it won't be till Thursday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we'll be back on Monday, where we'll be driving home on Monday. So let's just get right into this. I'll keep you guys up to date on the schedule as much as I can, but for right now, I got to hurry up and get the hell out of here. Is what I really need to do. So good morning to everybody, and this article, I think I'll probably drop it tonight if I get a chance. It's almost done, but I want to go through it right now, at least give you my 50 so you know who they are pre-combine and then how that's going to change post-combine. Not every single one of these players will do anything at the combine. We don't know. We don't know what their medical is right now. And there's 319 or 320 combine invitees. I think it's 319 this year. And all of these, I think, are on the list. Honestly, I haven't even double checked that. So let's just jump right into it, shall we? Let's start with number 50. Now, this name has been floated around for the Lions. Blake Miller. You know, I don't know how DJ sees this going down here, but he's had, you know, the other day during the Zoom call, he had mentioned Blake Miller's name. And I don't know, man. I don't know if I really see it. I think he's holding back. And I'm not sure why, but I get that feeling that he's holding back. He did say that the Lions are doing a lot of homework this year on free agents. They probably do every year, but free agent tackles, you know, looking at the free agent tackles, I would assume that a trade would probably make more sense for the Lions as opposed to a free agent, unless they're willing to spend the money and go out and get one of the best ones out there, which, I mean, you're talking Cam Robinson or Slater. There's just not a ton of options that to me make a ton of sense. Rookie makes a lot more sense, but then again, the way that this draft is flying right now with defensive players, I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions go defensive pick with their first pick. I really wouldn't. And there's going to be a lot of flip-flop back and forth between now and the draft. There's going to be a lot of different conversations and thoughts. Once we get through this and pro days and about 2 weeks before the draft, I should settle in and kind of figure out where I'm going to be. But I'm never going to tell you where I'm going to be 100% until draft day, like I do every year. But I'll have everything pre-written for you guys, so it'll drop minutes before the draft. All right, let's get right into Blake Miller here. True Iron Man. I mean, this is the one thing that I think is DJ uses the term Dan Campbell-y. I've never heard that one before. I like it. It's kind of funny. He is a Dan Campbell kind of guy. I mean, he's a Brad Holmes kind of guy. Quite simply, he started every single game of his college career. Every single game at Clemson. He set a new record, a new bar for durability at Clemson. He was voted a permanent captain by his teammates as a senior. He's proved his leadership and in his production. I mean, it was elite, you know, amongst his peers. But there's some things about his game that I don't know how it's going to translate yet until I see the guy move. You know, if he's going to test this week, see how he moves in the offensive lineman drills. So he does struggle with elite speed rushers, and the stiff hips is what I noticed. We'll see this week what happens. But if he has stiff hips, that's guard all day. That's not left tackle. Let me look at something else real quick. Honestly, I gotta get this open. Whoops. So that would speak, like I was saying, stiff hips, that's going to speak guard all day to me if he can't move in space. And he spent his entire career at Clemson on the right side. That's a big transition going from right to left. And so, look, DJ's extremely intelligent. He's been doing this a long time. I think he was a GM for a little bit. The fact that he would have a right tackle switching to left, I think I need to do my homework on something here and figure out how many right tackles have actually moved to left tackle, let's say the last 10 seasons. I don't think that there's been that many. And I know a lot of Lions fans in particular think that Penei Sewell's going to switch to the left. It's great in theory. I mean, I've discussed it a couple of seasons ago, and I thought, okay, there's the probability there that if the Lions had to walk away from Decker at some point, and this is way before we even had the issues with last year's season with Decker, that I felt that he could move to left after they've already got him signed, with his new contract. But the more I thought about it, I mean, once you're settled in at right tackle and you're playing well at right tackle and you haven't played left tackle since college, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. You want to bring in a guy that's been playing that position. And furthermore, we're in that what people call the win now mode, right? The window's open. It's only going to stay open so long. I don't believe in that. I think that every year you have an opportunity. But if that's the case, why would you want to put an unproven guy on the left side? Blake Miller. He's not a left tackle. He's a right tackle. And why would you want to take the risk of putting Panay over there, even though Panay is one of the best in the league, right? Probably top 2 or 3. His pass pro is not great. I don't know that I would risk that. Okay, so Blake Miller going to the left, I'm not all for that one. He does have a good heavy pop in his hands. He's got like this little thunderclap, man. He really shocks the edge rushers as they're coming in. How that translates to the left side is yet to be seen. So Blake Miller, number 50. What I do like is right here in his key stats. 71.3 gap grade, 76.6 in the zone. So he can do either. He's versatile that way in the run game. That I do like, because with Drew Petzing coming in, I think we're going to see a little bit of both. Omar Cooper, I know this one's a little bit low for a lot of people. They're probably wondering what the hell I'm thinking. Maybe I'm not thinking on this one. But right now I have Cooper Jr. At number 49. Now, there's a difference between... I guess let me put this out there right away. There's a difference between a top 50, top 100, top 150, and your draft board. What this is to me is these are the top 50 athletes that I see right now and where I feel they rank right now today. Doesn't mean Omar Cooper's getting picked at 49. If that happens, great. It lined up, but that's not what I'm expecting. What I'm saying is there's 48 other players that I feel are better than him, which is crazy when we're about to talk about some of his numbers right now, because what he did is absolutely crazy of what he did last year. What are we talking about in here with spell check? What's going on? Did I spell something wrong? This hasn't been proofed, by the way. My article has not been proofed. So anyway, Omar Cooper Jr., 58 catches, 804 yards, 11 TDs this last season. Just insanely good year. Indiana obviously shocked the nation, right? Shocked the world with what they were able to do this year. But when I look at his numbers, I go back to 24. Because in 2024, there's something that stuck out to me about this guy that is exactly what you want on any team. And it's this right here, his efficiency. 24 of 28 receptions resulted in either a first down or a touchdown. That's craziness. So think of, an Amon-Ra St. Brown or Jameson Williams. Pretty much every catch is going for a first down or a touchdown. How important would that be at the next level? It's extremely important. And it may not translate 100%, but that tells you that he knows where to be, when to be there, and how to move the chains. 21.2 yards per reception in 2024, another ungodly number. He only had 594 yards and 7 TDs in 2024, but that was the beginning of his breakout. Now, he's not a straight line runner. He's not going to beat you with a ton of speed. We'll see how he runs this week. But he is a polished route runner, which, if you know me by now, you know that there's things that are very important to me, and that is shoulder up. If you know what you're doing from the shoulder up, if you're very smart and you're a cerebral type of football player, you can beat players with speed simply by knowing where to be, when to be there, right? Find your landmarks, and you do it with, a shifty nature that allows you to put them on skates while they're trying to figure out what you're doing. You're already 5 steps ahead. So very cerebral football player here. He's a polished route runner, and that I do like. Elite body control. as far as dissecting coverages and where the, zone or even, the safeties are going to be over top. He figures it out. He finds those soft spots, and that's where he does the majority of his work. He's going to be wide receiver too, I think, instantly on any team. At 6'1", 195, you would think he's a little bit big to be a slot. I think not. You can put him on the outside, but I think if you put him in as a power slot, this guy's going to tear it up at the next level. But at 49, he may fly up the boards this week. He may help himself. Look at these numbers though: 145.2 passer rating when targeted. 145.2 passer rating when targeted. Crazy. 50% catch rate, a contested catch rate. What you'll see on my article, I forgot to tell you guys this. I went crazy, partly because I've never written an article like this before, so I'm kind of learning on the fly, but I created this stats legend because my terminology, even though it is pretty much the same, I'm trying to find acronyms that'll work so I don't have to spell everything out and make the article that much longer. So if you're looking for something, if you don't quite understand what I'm saying or what the acronym is, just go down to the stats legend here and you'll figure it out. So 49, Omar Cooper. 47 or 48. And I do have one open spot on this, by the way. I have one open spot still. I think it's number 26. I'm not firm on where I'm going there yet. But Chase Bisontis, guard, Texas A&M, 6'6", 330 pounds. It's screaming tackle, right? Tackle. With that kind of size, that is a huge tackle. No. He's a road grader. Yes. Nasty demeanor. Absolutely. He switched from tackle. He went from tackle to guard, where he found his home at guard, and he uses that massive frame just to maul interior defenders all day in the run game. Pure violence this guy plays with. Pure violence. Finisher. He's an absolute finisher. He looks to just grind his opponents into the dirt every snap. He's probably one of the more tenacious guards that I've seen in a long time. He anchored the Aggies' 11-2 college football playoff run here in 2025, earned third-team All-SEC honors. And according to PFF, though, Bisontis also posted a 70.7 pass blocking grade in his final year, allowing just one sack across 13 starts. While he needs to refine his pass pro technique, he does have the raw power, and it is elite. I do got to finish dropping in a few stats here, and I'll do that later on today. Matter of fact, make sure I put my note in here now. So 48 Chase Bisontis, guard. Now, I don't think the Lions need a guard, but here's something to think about. Could he go back to tackle? I think that's an unlikely proposition. I think he's going to stick at guard. But being able to play both, I think, is something that you want on your team. So from a versatility standpoint, don't be surprised if this guy's available later on in day 2. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. You want guys that can be versatile. So could he play tackle in a pinch? Sure he could. He's got the size. He has the weight. He can move, but he's also a little bit stiff, and I think that's the biggest reason why he went to guard. 47, Ty Simpson, quarterback out of Alabama. I know you're saying, Will, you're nuts. This dude's much better than the other 46 guys. I don't think so. And I really don't think so. At 6'2", 203 pounds, I can't wait to see where he actually measures. Something tells me he's going to be 6'1.5". And if he's 6'1.5", I'm sorry that I don't do non-prototypical quarterbacks. I don't. I'm going to stick with that. They're the very few quarterbacks that have ever done anything in this league, Drew Brees being one of them, that not being prototypical size in the NFL typically doesn't work out. Russell Wilson did a couple of things early in his career. Pretty damn good quarterback. And again, few and far between. We'll see where he measures. But right now, Simpson is kind of more of that coach on the field because his father was a coach. So he comes from a lineage of understanding the game. And I think that when you enter the college ranks and you're way ahead of everybody else on the field, I think that he plays to a higher level. He's got a much higher floor. I don't think he has a very high ceiling. I don't think that Ty Simpson is the answer. Now, is he going to get taken in the first round? Probably. More than likely, yes. Top 10, I think you'd be foolish, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. I hope it happens, because then it just pushes another player down for the Lions. But keeping the bias out of this, I think that his accuracy in the intermediate game, yeah, it's elite. It is. I think he shows great poise, played for a great school. Alabama goes through, some of the best teams in the league, every single season. And as I put right here, he's a high floor prospect who projects as a steady, reliable NFL starter. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. At least right now, from what he has shown on the field, he can play the game. But how much further is he going to be able to take his game at the next level? I don't think it's much. I really don't. But his brain could be more important in this case. So 46, D'Angelo Pons, Indiana. Man, when's the last time we've seen, this many Indiana players on a board in a top 50, right? Hardly ever do you see any. So big congrats to them. Pons is your typical feisty gnat. It's a terrible term. I probably shouldn't have said that, but he's small. He's small, but he's a big ball of energy. 170 pounds has me worried, but the guy can play. At 5'9", we'll see if he measures 5'9" or 5'8". He can play. Transferred from James Madison, became a lockdown corner for the Hoosiers. He uses his feet. He uses his speed for him to stay sticky. My biggest concern is at the next level, is that weight going to be a hindrance? Is he going to be too small? Even taking on a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown, you're going up against someone that is, elite at what they do, number one, and two, probably one of the toughest sons of a guns out there in Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, pound for pound, the dude is strong. So trying to take on a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown when he's fighting out of the slot, or as a nickel, I don't have a ton of confidence. You know me. I barely wanted guys like, DJ Reed to be in Detroit because of their size. If you prove it at the next level, then I'll warm up to it. But again, this is a prototypical thing for me. I probably shouldn't even have him ahead of anybody else on this list. But I think he belongs in there right now. I want to see how his production from the college, his time in college translates to the NFL. I don't know if it will. We'll see how he tests this week, and we'll go from there. But right now, he's 46. Jadarian Price, overshadowed by his running mate, Jeremiah Love. I think this guy's going to be pretty damn good, honestly. If he would have got more opportunities in front of Love, or, if Love gave him more opportunities, let's put it that way, I think that we would have saw more out of Price. Don't sleep on Price. This guy is going to be a starter for somebody here in 2026, and I think he's going to be that change of pace back, that spark plug, kind of what you see in Detroit with Demo and Jahmyr Gibbs. He has excellent burst, though. This guy's fast, great agility. He makes the defenders miss in what we call the phone booth, right? Can put you on skates. Processing speed is above average. He remains patient to set up the blocks. Again, that's something like Demo, right? He's a pretty patient runner. But then he blasts through that hole with that home run capability. So he's kind of a good mix between a speed back and someone that can bring a little bit of power at 200 pounds. He's also capable of catching balls out of the backfield. He just lacked opportunity at Notre Dame. And I think that he offers a very significant value in the return game as well, which I think he'll be able to find himself on the field right away, catching punts or returning kicks or whatever it is. I think that's where he's going to find his way onto the field immediately and as a number two. But eventually, I think he could be a starter. His testing is going to be big for him this week. He's someone that's going to shoot his stock up, or he's going to fall out of my top 50 and maybe off of a few other boards pretty quickly in the second round. We'll see what he does. So number 45, Jadarian Price. 44, Colton Hood, cornerback out of Tennessee, 6 foot, 195. 2025 stats, he had 50 tackles, 2 interceptions, 6 pass breakups. All stats, by the way, is a blend of either PFF or College Reference. I use College Reference for a lot of my stats. I probably should have went to all of the independent schools. But honestly, I just don't have time to do all that. College Reference is pretty spot on usually. So the stats is usually from College Reference. Some of the other stuff, like the PFF grades, I've told you what they are, where they come from. he's a ball magnet. Like, this guy's a ball hawker. Transferred from Colorado to Tennessee and proved that he could thrive in that SEC landscape. He plays with big-time swag, excellent instincts, consistently jumps routes, and disrupting the passing lanes. Ball skills are elite. He attacks the football in the air like a receiver. He can be overly aggressive at times. He bites on double moves. That's a technique thing, and some of that stuff can get figured out. Some of that stuff's an instinct thing, which you really can't get figured out. It could be time on task, where he needs to recognize what a double move looks like before it happens. And if he can learn that, which is pretty tough to do, he can get better at that. But he plays both outside and inside. It makes him pretty valuable. The chess piece is what we'd like to call him. Very, very creative leverage for defensive coordinators when you have a guy that can play inside out. Right now, I see him more as a slot nickel corner to at least start. He's got good weight, 195, 6 foot. I mean, he could play on the outside. He's got the height to do it. Key stat for him, 69.5 passer rating when targeted. Fix that. Passer rating when targeted. That's elite. That's absolutely elite. Coverage grade 80.3. Pass rush grade doesn't really matter a whole lot for a corner, but if you watch the Seahawks game, you'll see why it's important that pass rush grade is at least noted for corners and safeties, because if they can be utilized in that style of a defense, that's where that pass rush grade helps. Run defense grade 63.8. Not the best, but he's not terrible either. He could use some work there. I think he's going to be more of a zone corner to at least start his career. But that's kind of where I see him going there. So number 44, Colton Hood. 43, Malachi Fields, wide receiver out of Virginia. 6'4", 220. Previous rank, I had him at 50. Let me kill that. We don't need that up now. 2025 stats, 309 snaps, 60 receptions, 630 yards, 17.5 yards receptions. Pretty special stuff. 5 TDs in 12 games. Key stats, 113 passer rating when targeted, which is excellent. Anything over 100 is excellent. When you start tipping the scales above 110, 120, you're making your quarterback look really good. That means that you're not dropping balls. You probably have a pretty big wingspan, and you're making your quarterback look extremely good when they throw the ball behind you a little bit and you're able to snag it. Contested catches help a lot with that, which he has. A 47.6 contested catch rate and only drops 2.7% of his catches. One drop last season. PFF has him as a 76.2 against the run, 66.7 man cover grade, MCG, man cover grade, 75.8 overall. Now, Fields is that big body X receiver style, right? He utilizes that 6'4" frame to bully those smaller defensive backs at the catch point. His speed could be a little bit of a problem, at least as a bigger, taller receiver running a 4.55. I want to see him test this week. If he gets sub 5, this guy's going to fly up some boards. Sub 4.5, excuse me. Fields demonstrates an elite ability to win with that spatial void over the middle, putting that 38-inch vertical to use. Fields creates vertical separation. I don't know if you've heard that before. It's something that I'm using this year when I watch guys jump and how they're able to jump into the ball. I call that vertical separation. And some people think of vertical separation as going north to, south to north, right? Or north to south. This is up. He's going up. And that's where that 38-inch vertical special. 2025, he transferred to Notre Dame. He stabilized a very run-heavy Notre Dame offense, averaging that lethal 17.5 yards per reception. He is a surgical perimeter chain mover who uses a 365-pound bench press. Guy's strong to neutralize press man coverage and secure that intermediate boundary. He's going to be a fun one to watch. Elite height, great weight. I just want to see that 40 get under 4.5. If he gets under 4.5, and if he runs even faster than that, I think he's going to fly up some boards. He's fun to watch. We'll see how it all translates. I mean, just look at that catch. Look at that dude's catch. Just insane, man. Good work by Malachi Fields. Jake Goldie. I was going to rewrite this one. I think this one I'm good on. The more I watch this guy, the more impressed I get. You're going to hate me for saying this. Jack Campbell, number 2. I see it. I see how special this guy could be at the next level. He's not quite Jack Campbell coming into the league. I think he can get there. I think that, and I'm not saying he's going to, be a middle linebacker. We'll see where he goes. This guy, I got to let me pull something up on him. One sec. This guy's fun to watch. All right, let me go through some of his stats. Talk about him for a moment. So, small school sleeper, right? Central Arkansas. That's where he started. Ended up at Cincinnati, I think is the trajectory I saw. Hold on. I might have that wrong. Might have that wrong. No, I got it right. The Arkansas wasn't sticking out. I got to change it to Cincinnati. That's why I wanted to rewrite that. Tag that again. Anyway, moving along. 105 tackles last year, 39 solos, 6 TFLs, 3.5 sacks, 3 pass breakups, 1 forced fumble. That is elite work. 106.5 passer rating when targeted. Not the best, but for a linebacker, I guess I'll take it. I guess I'll take it for now. Sorry, one sec. One sec. Okay. Sorry about that. I just had to reload a page. He kind of started off at Central Arkansas as that edge defender. I mean, that's how they used him. They put him out. They put him on the line as an edge. Transitioned, I think pretty much at Cincinnati is where he transitioned to that off-ball linebacker role. And again, I'm not saying he's going to be like a Jack Campbell middle linebacker. I'm not saying that at all. I think he's going to be probably best used in a 3-4 outside linebacker. Could be a 4-3 Sam. Could be. We'll see where he comes in this week with testing and, the height, weight, speed, all that good stuff that, Brad Holmes doesn't like. I love this dude in Detroit right now. I do. And I would spend a second-round pick on him in a heartbeat. I don't know if he's going to jump up to the first round. I haven't seen anything that projects him going in the first round. Honestly, I don't know if a lot of people are high on him as much as I am or not. But I like his production. I like what he does on the field. And I think that he's someone that can help out the Lions big time in that linebacker room. 43 stops is crazy. 18 pressures. Overall grade 82.4 by PFF, 90.6 against the run, 61.1 pass rush grade is not great, but it can get better. Again, it all depends on how Cincinnati uses him. 77.5 coverage grade, though, that lit up my Christmas tree. And you see it on the field. Golday is that small school sleeper, right? NFL size and athleticism. He dominated the FCS level. He showed the range of play, sideline to sideline, and the physicality to thump between the tackles. He will need to adjust to the speed of the NFL like anybody, but his traits do suggest that he can be a productive special teamer and an eventual starter. The more I watch him, the more I started to think, okay, can he be a day one starter? Is he going to start out as a backup? Is he going to be a backup and a special teamer? We'll see. I think that he can get there. Like I said, he's not going to come in day one, lighten it up, but I think he's going to get there, and he could be someone that surprises everybody. At 6'4" with 35-inch arms, though, that's exciting stuff to have. You just don't see that size, for a Sam linebacker much anymore. You got a lot of 6'1", 6'2", 225-pound guys. You don't see this kind of size that can move this well. Could you use him as an end? Yeah, you could. At 4.5, you absolutely could. If his 40 comes in at 4.5, you could use him as a speed rusher at times. But I'd rather see him out there covering those tight ends and those running backs as a Sam linebacker immediately is where I see him going. But he'll erase that separation in the intermediate middle with that kind of speed at sub 4.5. It's kind of what I was just talking about with Malachi, right? If his speed is over 4.5, which there's not a huge difference between 4.5, 4.55, or 4.5 and 4.6, but it does show up at times with the burst, right? So is his long jump going to be good? Is his vertical going to be good? Or a broad jump going to be good in the vertical? Because those are the things that will tell me, okay, he has the ability to have that quick burst. And then we'll also see it, this week when they're training, how quickly they can get out and get moving. It's one of the first things I key in on is what is that first step? How quick are they able to get out? What is their shoulder height when they are jumping out if they're on the line? There's a lot that I still need to learn about scouting, but there's a lot that I've already figured out that my eye's a little bit different, I think, than what other people see. I just have to learn how to translate that into lingo, and I think we'll be good. His anchor against pulling guards is not great right now, but I think he can get better. I think that his 10.5% missed tackle rate is way too high, but he's a pretty savvy guy. I think that he can diagnose what's going on pretty quickly, especially against the RPOs, which make him, I think, that projected day 2 lock, like I wrote here. He's surgical. In space, I think that he knows where he's at, and I think that his spatial awareness has a good feel. It's almost like an echo sonar. He kind of knows what's going on around him. And immediately when that ball is thrown, he knows where it's going and who's where. If he's not directly on someone kind of floating in the middle there, keep your eye on him. I think that what you'll notice this week in the combine is he could surprise everybody. I do got to rewrite a lot of this. You guys are getting my non-proof version, by the way. Like I said, I got to rewrite a lot of that. I got to rewrite Mason Thomas too. All right, Mason Thomas. This guy is one of those. Who is he? At 6'2", 240. Who is Mason Thomas really? He had 26 tackles, 18 solo, 6.5 sacks, 9.5 TFLs, 1 pass breakup, 2 forced fumbles, 3 hits in 10 games. Pretty damn good production. 28 pressures, 19 hurries, 19 stops, and a 20.3 passer rating. Pass rush grade, which is elite. Like, this guy's production was crazy good. 79.4 against the run, 90.4 pass rush grade, which is elite, 85.3 overall. So great numbers, right? Great metrics. But where is he? Like, who is he? Where's he going to line up at? Is he twitchy? Yes. Is he a speedster? Yes. Is his athleticism off the chains? I think so. He just lacks that ideal size. And he's what you would call the tweener, right? He's an in-betweener. Is he a defensive end? Is he going to be a linebacker? Right now, I projected him to be a 3-4 outside linebacker. And that's exactly what I put in here. I mean, he has relentless motor. He'll chase down plays from the backside, but I think he's going to be that 3-4 outside linebacker right now, and he's just going to be a menace. He is also someone, call me crazy, could be a good fit for Detroit as a Sam linebacker if we need to replace Alex Anzalone, which all signs are pointing to that's probably going to be the case. So keep your eye on Mason Thomas. Jake Slaughter, my man. You can tell the guys that I really like, I go a little bit deeper on. But Jake Slaughter is in at number 40. It doesn't mean that he's not going to get taken in the first round, and quite honestly, I don't think he's going to be taken in the first round. He's flying up some boards. He's moving a little bit. And Daniel Jeremiah said that he is the number one center in this draft, which I'm glad we agree on that. And maybe if Connor Lew wasn't hurt, maybe he would be, but he's hurt, so we don't know. Jake Slaughter was always number one for me. Where he gets taken is yet to be seen. At 6'5", 300 pounds, he definitely has the size. I would like him to be a little bit heavier. 300 is the bar, for entry. If you're going to display some of those nose guards, you need some more weight. But he has power, and I think he can add another 10 or 15 pounds and be just fine. 748 snaps last year. He only allowed 1 sack, 1 hit, 2 hurries, and 4 pressures. But he had 7 penalties. He's going to have to clean that up. 12 games last year, 81.7 zone grade, 65.1 gap grade. Now, you might be thinking, okay, 65.1, Will, that doesn't sound like a number that is very elite, right? Oh, my neck is on fire. But it actually is. Let's see if I can get this pulled up for you guys. I forgot I was supposed to be doing this the whole time. I'm failing at my own stuff today. My brain is on get the hell out mode. Got a lot to do. Jake Slaughter. Let's see. I think this is the page we want. Yes, here we go. Jake Slaughter. There we go. The gap grade. You see it here at 65.1. Oh, you can't see my cursor. It's almost at the top of the chart here. He's about 3/4 to 100%. He's about 80%. He's just a couple of ticks away from being an elite score in the gap grade. But what I see is versatility. If you can run the zone, right? If you have the speed, the agility, the power, honestly, to get out there on the edge, I think that you can also be a down blocker. They're two totally different styles, but I when I watch him play, I see him as a down blocker all day. Matter of fact, in the Panini Bowl, Jake Slaughter was wrecking dudes, just wrecking dudes when he was getting out there. He was moving a ton, and for that reason, I think that he's going to be able to do both. I'm not going to lock him in as just a zone scheme, and quite honestly, that's not a bad thing. The more agility you have is not a bad thing. Here's what I got. 3-year starter, 2-time captain. That's a Dan Campbell-y guy. Jake Slaughter proved his value against the most demanding schedule in college football. Playing for the Gators. Handled all the line calls and protection adjustments for Florida. Posted that elite 87.1 PFF pass blocking grade in 2025. Ranking first in the SEC. Across 422 pass protection snaps against premier defensive ends like Georgia and Texas, he surrendered just 1 sack and 1 quarterback hit all season. He plays with great leverage and technique, rarely gets overpowered. Slaughter wins with advanced pre-snap processing, immediate stunt recognition, and the functional core strength to anchor in the pocket. While his 80.2 run blocking grade highlights his ability to displace those defenders vertically, his athleticism really shows up to pull and block in space, which I start to think immediately of, pin and pull if you're going to use your center for that. But his film really revealed slight lateral limitations. And this is where his gap grade may have fallen down just a little bit. But with wide zone concepts is where he struggled, a tiny bit. I'm not going to overplay this card at all. It's projecting him best as a gap or an inside zone style of a system, but when you look at his grades, it doesn't really line up. What I see is different than what PFF sees, but I also see where he does great against the zone or inside the zone scheme. They ran a little bit of everything there at Florida, but he's a high IQ plug-and-play starter who's going to be the brain of an offensive line for the next decade. I have him starting on day one. Jake Slaughter. 6'5", 300 pounds. Big dude. I think he can get a little bigger. Next up, Max Ihanichor. I probably just murdered that name again. Ihanichor. Offensive tackle out of Arizona. This guy is probably one of the most interesting prospects in the draft. He played basketball his whole career before ever playing football. I think he's been playing football about 4, maybe 5 seasons at max by now, total. No pun intended. 6'5", 325 pounds. This guy's one of the bigger prospects in the draft. 860 snaps, no sacks, 3 hits, 8 penalties. That speaks to his rawness. 14 pressures allowed, not terrible. 12 games. 70.8 true pass blocking grade, 68.1 zone blocking grade, 0 sacks, 34.5-inch arm length. And I say 34.5-inch plus. I've seen where some reports have it at 35. Either way, anything above 34 is elite in my book. It's rare, and that's exactly what you want in a left tackle or a right tackle, wherever he's going to play. 66.8 run block grade, 78.3 pass block grade, 72.5 overall. The gap grade, 62.9. So can he run the gap style of scheme? Absolutely he can. This guy is a terrifying raw ball of clay. And what I mean by that raw ball of clay is he's still being molded. He has such a high ceiling. Very low bar, for him right now, because I think that his ability is limitless. I really do. He dominated the Senior Bowl. He was bullying elite edge rushers and proving his rapid development is ahead of schedule. He's armed with an explosive athletic profile, massive 34.5-inch arms. He already possesses the physical baseline of a franchise tackle. He's still mastering all these little nuances to the game, though, and they do show up at times, but very rare lateral quickness. And I think, again, that footwork that he has, which is also elite, it comes from his basketball days. Effortless job when he's mirroring speed rushers. He just doesn't let them get inside his body. So he weaponizes very heavy hands, stone power. At the point of attack, I mean, he's shocking these guys. His punch timing is a little bit off. His stunt recognition's a little bit slow. Those are going to demand a lot of technical refinement. But he's devastating in all sense of the word. He's dominant. He's big. He's a force. I see him as a big-time zone blocking enforcer, boasting genuine all-pro upside. I know it's a little bit early talking all-pro, but you give this guy 4 or 5 seasons at the next level, and he'll be there. His technique needs to catch his athleticism, and that's where that raw ability that he has, that raw, ball of clay, if you will, he's still being molded into whatever you want. That's a good thing and a bad thing at the next level. I think what a lot of people can equate this to is Giovanni Manu, who absolutely has crazy size, crazy intangibles, speed, and this is your next Giovanni Manu. Why is he not getting the same negative connotation, if you will, as Giovanni Manu did? Well, because he played ball in the States. Had Giovanni Manu played ball in the States, I think it's a different story. And I do think Giovanni Manu would have been more ahead of schedule, but you're looking at the same style of player. The difference is, I think that Ihanachour is probably going to play right away. And I think that having that ability to mold this guy into whatever you need him to be, that's where not having bad traits matters. When you come into the league and you have bad traits and you've got things, that those coaches have to clean up, it slows your progression down. He is so young and raw into this game. I think that you're going to see him develop much faster. So Ihanachour, right now I have him at 39 best overall players from a physical standpoint, a testing standpoint, you name it. But his techniques are going to be a little bit behind everybody else. He's going to be one of the most interesting ones to watch this week at the Combine. It should be Sunday. I believe Sunday is when the offensive line run. Next up, Caleb Banks, boomer bust guy for me. 21 tackles in 2024. I got to go to 24 with his stats because 25 was a mess for him. 7 TFLs, 4.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 1 batted pass in 12 games. He put up 29 pressures, 21 hurries, 13 stops, and a 8.3 pass rush win rate. For me, red flags are this. Foot injury. Started in 2024. Progressed into 2025. where he ended up having to have surgery last September. But he's still high octane. Planet theory, as I like to call it, prospect with rare physical displacement. Consistency is a problem for him. He either booms or he busts. He shows up or he doesn't. I don't like that. I don't like that in a player where you just don't know what you're going to get. It's like a box of chocolates, right? You never know what you're going to get. I can't remember the quote, but you know what I'm saying. But he's heavily reliant right now, I think, on 2024. So if you look at his 24 tape, which I had to do, then I think you get a very good idea of who he is and who he can be. I do believe that the foot injury probably showed up in places where maybe you would doubt or have doubt as to what his ability really is. And when he doesn't have the foot injury, he's a totally different player. Now, I believe he only played in 3 games this year towards the end of the season. And in all 3, it was kind of a little bit different in each game as to kind of who he was. And then I think it was the Panini Bowl again that he didn't show up all week. And a lot of the talk around the table was boom or bust. Who is the guy? Missed tackles is a big problem for him too. And like I said here at the bottom, Banks is boom or bust prospect due to the lack of playing time before entering the draft. Could easily slip hard into day 2. Should he fall as far as the 4th round, well, he may end up back home in Michigan with the Detroit Lions. And that is a real take. That is a real feeling. I mean, he's from Michigan. I wouldn't be surprised. Now, I'm not saying because you're from somewhere you're going to go home and play, Max Crosby. I'm not saying that, but I'm just making the analogy here that he could be back home if, in fact, he does slip much further than expected in this draft. Haven't heard if he's slipping yet. We'll see. 38, Caleb Banks. Christian Miller. What time is it? I got to get flying. Christian Miller, defensive tackle, Georgia. 6'4", 305 pounds. What a freak of an athlete. This guy's fun to watch, man. 437 snaps last year. He was on a heavy rotation. 23 tackles, 10 solo, 1.5 sacks, 2 hits, 4 TFLs over 14 games. Provided 16 pressures, 14 hurries, 12 stops, 11.3 pass rush win rate, 7.4 run stop win rate, 88.1 against the run. We love that in Detroit, right? 70.4 pass blocking grade, 82.3 overall. 2-time state champion from Ellenwood, Georgia. I know, I'm trying to leave. I know. 2-time state champion from Ellenwood, Georgia. Christian Miller stayed home, anchored those Bulldogs, man, on that defensive front. He redshirted after playing a rotational role. He seized that opportunity in 2024. He flashed some very violent gap shooting burst, 27 tackles, 3.5 TFLs, and 1.5 sacks. And then during his 25 junior campaign, he logged 14 games, generating 23 tackles, 4 TFLs, 1.5 sacks, showcasing a terrifying straight line bull rush, capable of immediately pushing the pocket. And that's what I see this guy doing very well. I think he has high pass rush upside ability. The tape does reveal a few things, though. He's very raw, high ceiling, low floor kind of projection here. Now, his first step quickness and interior disruption are the coveted traits that you're going to love about him. And in that 2025 film, I think it exposed, I don't think I know, tackling inconsistencies and lapses in run defense vision. He projects as an explosive day 2 developmental penetrator, but serious technical hand placement refinement is going to be needed to be able to make an every down impact in at the next level. He's going to need some work just like everybody else. And that is probably my biggest red flag is where where is he going to develop quickly or not? One second. Okay. So Christian Miller, 37, defensive tackle, Georgia. Next up, 36, TJ Parker, mocked most recently by DJ Daniel Jeremiah to the Detroit Lions. The more and more I learn about this guy. Oh, yeah, I got to switch screens. My bad. The more and more I learn about this guy, the better he gets. TJ Parker, edge, Clemson, 6'3", 255 pounds, 37 tackles, 19 solo, 5 sacks, 9.5 TFLs, 11 hits in 12 games in 2025. 41 pressures, 24 hurries, 22 stops, 15.5% pass rush win rate, 7.6 against the run. That's elite. These types of numbers don't happen every day. TJ Parker didn't waste any time though when he entered the college. He switched schools. I want to say, where did he transfer from? I think he committed somewhere. Then he went to Clemson, if I'm not mistaken. I might even have wrote it down. But anyway, he shattered Myles Murphy's TFL record. If you guys remember Myles Murphy from a couple of drafts ago, 12.5 TFLs in his first season. His sophomore campaign escalated that same violence. 19.5 TFLs, 11 sacks, and a school record 6 forced fumbles. Highlighted again, a very dominant 7 tackle, 5 game TFL with 4 sacks. Let me rephrase that. Dominant 7 tackles, 5 TFLs, and a 4 sack masterpiece against Pittsburgh was his best game ever in college. Now, exiting 2024, he stood alone nationally, ranking top 10 in forced fumbles, TFLs, and sacks. I don't know that I've ever seen another player do that. My memory's for crap, so honestly, I'd have to go back and look. But his 2025 sack total did take I guess you could call it a massive, a massive downgrade, or I call it stabilization. He went from 12 to 6 or 11 to 6. Is that a big red flag? Probably not. I don't think so. I think that what you have to look at is how is he distributing, the rest of his efforts. And what you see here is his underlying disruption remained terrifying. So he still produced at a high level, again, 41 pressures, 11 quarterback hits, 24 hurries, and 22 stops. So when you look at, again, what was he doing the year that he was extremely successful, the year before, having 12 sacks, very similar production. So even though he wasn't getting the sacks, underneath it, he was still producing at a high level. On tape, though, this guy operates with heavy-handed chaos, puzzling offensive linemen into submission. He dictates reps with supreme upper body power and a masterful peanut punch and ball stripping technique, which I've seen just about everybody write about this guy. And it comes up on tape. I mean, whenever he's engaged, whenever he's trying to tackle somebody, that's what he goes to immediately. He's trying to create turnovers. So he's actively hunting turnovers. He's not waiting. He's going after it. Violent, high IQ technician, manipulates the leverage with long arms and uses power to set a brutal edge. Parker is a pro-ready day one starter, custom built for a 4-3 front. Put him on your short list. If he's a day 2 guy, if he gets out around 1, which is expected, I can see why he's been mocked to the Lions. More than a couple of times, but I can see why or Daniel Jeremiah mocked him to the Lions. The guy is a freak, and he kind of reminds me of. I mean, if he had more weight, I would say that he could be that big end, but he still sets a hard edge. He's not 280, he's not 275, he's not 290, he's 255. He's gonna have to go up in a little bit of weight, maybe. I want to see where he runs. I couldn't find any numbers on his 40. I just want to see where he runs, because if he runs fast, if he's below, 4.6, 4.7, I think it would be the bar, the height. But if he can run faster than that, then he can definitely be more of that speed, rusher off the edge who still has the power to set an edge, which that's a great combination to have. I just don't know if the Lions are going to use that. If they're looking at getting smaller and faster as opposed to bigger like they've always been on the other side, well, this would be the first year that we've seen it. It's always been a big end and a speed end, always, in the last 5 seasons. So we'll see if there's any changes there. This next guy is going to be fun to watch too. I think he's going to be lightning in a bottle when he runs this week. Brandon Cease, cornerback, NC State or CSA, 6 foot, 190, good size, 27 tackles, 19 solo, 1.5 TFLs, 1 interception, 5 pass breakups, 1 forced fumble in 12 games. 78.9 passer rating when targeted is damn good. What I really love, 47.4% contested rate. He's contesting everything. Almost 50% of the balls that go up, he's contesting all of it. Smooth operator. You can put him out on the boundary. He can live there on an island by himself. He plays with very fluid hips, and that's what I'm looking for this week is how oily, how slippery. I got a new term this year, one that I made up. You know me, I'm always trying to look to be a little bit different. So I come up with this name or this acronym or whatever you want to call it, lingo. I'm calling it gimbaled hips. When you think of a gimbal, what do you think? You know, when you got your phone on a gimbal, it can rotate, but the phone stays straight. Everything else around it is rotating, right? So look for running backs to be on a gimbal when their contact balance, if everything else is moving, but the upper body is nice and stiff, and that ball's not moving around, that's your body's on a gimbal, right? And so I started thinking about a new term, and that's it. So gimbaled hips for me. I want to see if this guy has it. Is he able to stay neutral to the ground and operate nice and smooth, in and out of his breaks without losing, any of his balance, but more importantly, watch those running backs and see how they operate this week. Solid number 2 corner, I think, to start. I think he's going to be able to contribute immediately, and you can't copyright that because, I already said it, but, you got it. Gimbaled, not gimbal. Gimbaled hips. Up next, you can tell that I like this guy. Emmanuel Pregnon, left guard, USC, and then Oregon. I'm going to make sure I change that. Should probably do it right now. 6'5", 320 pounds, 910 snaps last season, 1 hit allowed, 0 sacks, 1 penalty, 3 pressures in 15 games or over 15 games. Key stats, 93 in the zone. Beautiful, beautiful work. 69 against or in the gap style of a run, 85.1. I got to refer to my own. You got to be kidding me. What did I do there? What did I write there? Why did I write that? Why did I write that? Hold on. What is that number? That must have been a 2 a.m. writing. It's probably the true pass set, which I shouldn't have labeled it that way. Yeah, it's true pass set. True pass set blocking grade. I usually write it out with true. That's why. There we go. 34-inch plus arms. I know I locked him in at 34, but things that I've read, I've heard that it could be over. He started off as an unranked 2-star. This guy's trajectory is crazy good. I have him probably making that first round. Right now at 34, he's just the 34th best athlete, but I think he could crack the top. Started off as an unranked 2-star out of Denver and landed in Wyoming. He opted out for COVID-19 exemption in 2020, redshirted his first 2 seasons, and then he broke out with a second-team freshman All-American honors his sophomore season in 2022. Triggered a transfer. This is where he went to USC. He took that violent 6'5", 318-pound frame at the time. We'll change that to 320 because he's 320 now. With 34-inch arms to USC. Now, over 2 seasons, 23 and 24, he surrendered 0 sacks. Let me say that again. From 23 to 24, he surrendered 0 sacks and allowed just 26 hurries and 31 pressures and 5 quarterback hits over 2 seasons. He earned second team All Big Ten Conference honors, accepted an invite to the 2025 East-West Shrine Bowl, and that's where it got interesting. Everyone thought he was going into the draft. He didn't. He skipped the 2025 draft. He went back to school, and then this is where he transfers to Oregon. And this is where his film just totally transcended to a different level. He went to elite status. First team AP All-American and first team All Big Ten honors. Elite hand techniques, strength to suffocate the interior pass rush. Once he latches onto a defensive tackle, the rep is dead. Like once he gets his hands on you, it's over. Some scouts flag his lateral movement against pure speed or boxing him out really or boxing him in exclusively into the gap scheme. I'm not mad at that. But his 25 Oregon film tells a different story. He routinely weaponized his massive reach to bully the interior rushers. He violently climbs to that next level, into the second level. He effortlessly will pull to the perimeter. So I don't know what they're seeing that's different from me. Maybe we watch different film, or maybe I got it wrong. But I think that he can do just about anything. He finished a 49-game, 2,985 snap collegiate career as one of the draft's most battle-tested, scheme-versatile interior enforcers in 2026. Don't sleep on Pregnon as a first-round potential should he test well at the combine. Again, put a star on this dude and make sure you watch him this week because I think if he tests well, someone's going to take him early in this draft, whether it's 32 or 26 or wherever. He could be there. This next one, Zion Young, defensive end, Missouri. I know I got to write more on him. I got to fix him up. 6'5", 265, 42 tackles, 20 solo in 2025. 6.5 sacks, 16.5 TFLs. 2 passes defensed, or batted passes, if you will. 2 forced fumbles. Key stats, 27 stops, 29 hurries, 52 pressures, 17.4 pass rush win rate, and 9.3 against the run. I think he has one of the highest run-stopping win rates out of anybody in the draft this year. PFF grade, 85.1 against the run, 81.6 against the pass, and 84 overall. This dude is twitchy. He exploded onto the scene in 2025. His 16.5 tackles for loss, I think, speaks to the player that lives in the backfield. And again, you guys that know me, you know what I love. And that are TFLs. They are way more important than sacks. They will always be more important than sacks. You can go ask Jared Allen. You can go ask many others. And they will tell you that if you are not getting sacks, you better be getting TFLs. And if you're not getting either, well, you probably shouldn't be playing. But TFLs are way more important any given day of the week. And those are the types of players that I want on this squad. Now, I know this is not supposed to be a biased review of these players, and I try to keep it out, but the Lions are missing one major stat line right now, and that is TFLs, or are TFLs. We need more. We need more guys in the backfield, and that doesn't mean off the edge. It doesn't have to come from the edge explicitly. It needs to come from the backers. It needs to come from the interior defensive linemen. Everybody needs to get their hands in the game with TFLs. The more TFLs you have, the better your defense is going to be. This guy, we can be one to provide it. Just happens to be an edge player. He's a high variance player. When he wins instantly. When he loses quickly too. So that's the high variance. His ability to bend the edge and close on the quarterback makes him a high upside prospect for teams looking for pure pass rush juice. The question is, can he be a 3-down edge defender? Well, simply evidenced by the run defense grade and the TFLs, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. So he can be a 3-down guy. Right now, 33, Zion Young, put a star on him. He's going to be a good one to watch this week. Monroe Freeling, most recently mocked to the Detroit Lions. Hold on a sec. And let me apologize again. This is not polished, so I'm doing my best job this morning. I'm a bit scattered, honestly. I got so much going on. Just need to get down there and get settled in. It's going to be a fun week, so let me pause real quick. Let me give you guys a quick update here on what's going on this week. So tonight, I think Eric will get in about 9 o'clock. I'll get in about hopefully 3. It's about a 4-hour trip for me. Got a nice apartment just a couple of miles away from the combine. I did find a house like literally right next door to the combine, but I don't know. It didn't look like where I wanted to be. Anyway, so our goal is get in tonight, kind of just settle in. Tomorrow we have Dan and Brad right away, I believe at 1 and 2 p.m., but we're going to be down there early, kind of getting the lay of the land, figuring out what Radio Row is going to be this year for us, if we're going to do Radio Row. I believe we have a spot, but I don't know if I have enough setup for it. If it's like anything like the Super Bowl, I probably won't do it. I need to get some things made, like backdrops and some other things, so that we can be a little bit more professional. If it's going to be like the draft, then I'll probably do it. The question is, do I want to haul all of this stuff down there as opposed to just setting up, in the apartment where after we get done for the day, we'll come back and we'll do a show every night and kind of tell you what we learned that day. Every night, I will be updating the taps and the RAM proprietary elements that I've built just for draft and in the combine and all that, so that we can kind of figure out where these players are lining up just based on height, weight, speed, agility, and all that stuff alone. I hope that they're giving us a sheet for every player, for a group of players, that tells us all their testing metrics or testing, and their agility scores, all that stuff. And if we get that, then everything goes much faster. Otherwise, that takes me like a week to install everything, as to where I could probably get everything in a matter of 30 minutes if I have a sheet. So that's kind of the goal. Every night we'll do a show. Every morning we probably won't. And that's because things kind of open up for us at like 8 a.m. So there really isn't a whole lot of time to spend, and we don't want to miss anything. So that's kind of the goal. I would not expect any morning shows. It's going to be all evening shows. The question is when are they going to start, and I'll just, I guess, let that be a surprise. But I would say anytime after 5 p.m. would probably be the goal. It just depends on when they're done for the day. It depends on when we're done for the day and when they're done testing. So that's kind of the goal, or kind of the outlook, I guess. Just pay attention to the posts, and I'll update Twitter as well. And maybe I'll throw some stuff on Facebook. But most importantly, just check out the page. Turn on notifications. If you don't have notifications on, that is the most important thing you can do to help us and help you. You would get a max of 3 notifications a day. So it's not a bunch of spam. Sometimes I don't even notify people. Like, I put it out there, but it doesn't go to notifications. So anyway, get back to this. Monroe Freeling. Now, he's been mocked to the Lions. DJ, Daniel Jeremiah, again, said that Monroe Freeling could make a lot of sense for the Lions. At 6'7", 310 pounds, offensive tackle, played on the right side. And this is, again, let me pull him up. This is, again, where I have, played on the left side, but this is, again, where I have questions as to why he would make sense for the Lions. And my biggest question is, is right here, which I didn't finish. I don't know why I didn't finish that. 53.5 gap grade. And the 64.7 zone grade. Those are not great grades. And matter of fact, there's some of the lower grades on or at least prior to entering the draft, prior to entering the combine, there's some of the lower grades out of all of the other prospects for offensive tackle. So that does worry me a little bit. Let me go to his PFF workup here. If you look from 23 to 25, he did get better every year, right? Played 14 games the last 2 seasons, in each season, 891 snaps last year, 422 against the run, 469 against the pass. Georgia must be a very, very balanced offense. I mean, the fact that, those numbers are very close, right? Only allowed 3 sacks this last season, 6 hurries. But that gap grade and those zone grades are just not great. Watching the film, it's a bit different. When you watch the film, I think that you always get a different story than what somebody else is trying to write for you. And this is why you can't just base everything on stats and stats alone, because it'll lead you the wrong watering hole, if you will. He is, I know I use these weird metaphors, but a gliding fortress who finally put all of his physical tools together in 25. Former 5-star recruit, plays with effortless movement skills. I will give him that. I think that he can move quite well. The problem is, I don't think he knows where he's going. He can mirror speed rushers with a patient kick slide, but again, his length allows him to lock out defenders and control the arc, making him a nightmare for edge rushers trying to bend the corner. While he's still filling out his frame with NFL power, his ceiling as a blindside protector is arguably the highest in the class according to everybody else. The question is, will that translate? The numbers don't make sense with PFF. What I see on the film shows me that the guy can actually play. I just don't think he knows where he's going half the time. And I think that maybe there was some confusion last year on the offensive line, similar to what we had in Detroit. But he did seem to be out of position more than I like to see. Again, this week really isn't going to tell me a whole lot about him other than what I noticed in film. Is it going to show up in the limited amount of of agility drills that they're going to do this week? Is he a franchise starter? I think he has a good starting kit. I think that he can get better. The things that I don't like are 6'7" at 310. I think it's too small. When I look at his frame and I've watched him play, yeah, he's got good power against college guys. He can move. He could definitely move. Like, a guy's pretty quick. But you look at Taylor Decker on the left, look how big he is. The dude is like a barrel. Looks like a 55-pound barrel on Decker's chest, in midsection. This guy looks like he's a center, in the NBA. That's what he looks like to me. Looks like a big center. I think he needs 20 or 30 pounds easily. I'm sorry, to be 320 or 330 easily to have more displacement factor at the next level. I don't have him mocked to the Lions. I'll just say that. I don't have him mocked to the Lions right now. I don't think he's a good fit right now today. That could change. Avion Terrell, cornerback out of Clemson. Another guy that's going to be fun to watch this week. But at 5'11", 180, the question is, where is he going to line up? Where is his best fit? With 48 tackles, 30 solo, 4.5 TFLs. Like that's another big number, right, for a corner. 3 interceptions, 5 forced fumbles, and 3 sacks. What does that tell you? He fits that style of New England Seattle defense, where they're putting their corners in the backfield, right? They're sending them in on blitzes. The way that he plays up and around the line at times, or up in the box, 9 pass breakups. Like, this guy has elite ability. I think he's a little bit light at 180. I'm going to be keyed in on his weight this week to kind of see where that ends up. 56.9% contested rate. Crazy good. 66.7 man cover grade. 96.9 passer rating when targeted is good. It's not great. It's good. 74.9 zone cover grade. More of a zone corner, at least right now. Tape kind of shows me the same thing. I mean, he's physical, and he's physical with his receivers, but I don't see him being man-to-man. I think he's a little light. I think he's going to get bullied off the ball. At 180 pounds, like I said, red flag for me. He could use some added strength. 2025 AP All-American and Jim Thorpe Award semifinalist. He is surgical with what he does out there on the football field. He's an operator. He set a Clemson record with 5 forced fumbles from the secondary this season. His 180-pound frame invites concerns regarding vertical displacement against larger receivers. His 94.1 PFF pass rush grade and elite ball stripping capability prove that he is a high velocity disruptor. He mirrors routes with a technician's mindset. He utilizes his buttery hips, or we'll call them gimbaled hips. We'll see. We'll see where that ends up this week, right? He erases separation quickly in press man coverage. Terrell is a spatial predator who folds the field by punishing every catch attempt with that contested catch rate that we noted earlier. Violent ball-seeking hands. So he has all of these great intangibles and athletic ability. Is the size going to be the limiting factor here? How many 180-pound guys are elite at the next level? Would you take him in the top 32? I have him as the 31st best prospect in the league and in the draft right now. And that maybe isn't a good thing, but corners are going to be deep this year. Receivers are going to be deep this year, and edge are going to be deep. The question with edge, like I've said over a month ago, is how are they going to measure? I think we're going to see a lot of edge defenders right now that are going to measure pretty light in the height and wingspan and arm length, and that's going to be a big problem. This next guy, C.J. Allen, number 30, linebacker out of Georgia, 6'1", 235. And that's 6'1", 235. Like, this seems to be the going rate nowadays for linebackers. 6'1", 225, 6'2", 235. Like, that's the number. 88 tackles, 47 solo, 6 TFLs. Great number there. 3.5 sacks, 4 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles. That's a damn good year. That's a really good year. 36 stops, 68.2 contested rate against, and 87.8 pass rush, or passer rating when targeted. 60.7 cover grade, 72.6 pass rush grade, 90.8 run defense grade, 81.9 overall. This guy's a field commander out there. I mean, he knows where to go, where to get guys, lined up. I think that what he proved to me is that Georgia knows how to create linebackers. I don't think that he played to the best of his ability this last season, but I think when you look at his numbers, I mean, how would you want any more than that? I think there's more for this guy. I really do. I think that he's left some stuff on the table. He plays with cerebral violence, and that's the difference for me with some of the other guys is I think he has it from the neck up. I don't know how he's going to interview, right? But when I watch him play, I see somebody that is smart, instinctual, and can diagnose plays faster than anyone else on the field. Allen is a true 3-down linebacker that can thump the run, drop into coverage with very, very fluid coverage with fluidity there, excuse me. His leadership and football IQ are defining traits. He is the quarterback of the defense that gets everybody aligned before wrecking the play himself, which is kind of fun to watch. Red flags, well below average coverage grade. So that's 60.7 coverage grade over here. That definitely needs some work. I don't know if he's going to be able to work on it or not. Is it technique driven? Is it scheme driven? That's going to be the test for the next level and his coaches. But dude's smart, man. There's a reason why he was at Georgia, and there's a reason why he's going to be a potential first-round pick. This next one, Cassius Howell. I have him at 29. I have a feeling he's going to drop way out. Production, right? I mean, the guy was a production monster. However, I have a feeling his arms are going to be the next T-Rex syndrome. They already are projecting as that. And I think when you look at his missed tackles and how he struggles against the run, that is a direct correlation to his arm length. 6'4", 245 pounds. He's got decent size. 31 tackles, 20 solo, 11 and a half sacks, 14 TFLs, 6 pass breakups, 1 forced fumble. For the Lions, I think when you look at what Brad and Dan really love is guys that can produce, guys that are violent, guys that come to play every day. Cassius Howell has all of that. He definitely has the instincts, the ability, everything. The biggest question is, can that production at the college level translate to the next level? I am less confident that it will. A 19.9 pass rush grade, pass rush win rate, 41 pressures is just ungodly. 3 pass breakups. PBs. This is the difference between. Hold on. Grab that again. Oh, I think we have a big discrepancy here between PFF and 3 batted. Batted passes. 3 batted passes. 27 hurries. 21 stops. This is elite production, man. You rarely see that. 73.6 run defense grade. 90.3 pass rush grade, 81.2 overall. Like I said, the red flag, short arms, 3.1% run stop rate. This is way too low. Way too low. Struggles against the run. He is a speed merchant off the edge, though. He terrorizes SEC quarterbacks in 2025. And it's all because of that first step. It's electric. He gets out the box, out the gate, and he's gone. He can win to the corner before the tackles can even set. And he possesses that elite bend and flexibility, dipping under blocks to finish at the quarterback. While he does, need to add some functional strength to hold up better against the run, his ability to disrupt the passing game is undeniable. He is a designated pass rusher who can change the complexion of a game on third down. So this is my biggest question. And I'm gonna type it in right now. Can he play on all 3 downs? That's my biggest question. And if he can't, and if it's determined that he can't, at least right now, I don't think he's a Lion. Unless the Lions totally flip the script this year and go away from guys that play all 3 downs, earn the ability to rush the passer, he doesn't end up in Detroit. And again, if I put this out on Twitter, if Brad Holmes does Brad Holmes things, he's going to grab another T-Rex. And that's what Cassius Howell would be. Elite production, like Aiden, small arms. Exactly like Aiden. Elite production, small arms here. And that's where you struggle against the run. Now, this isn't a knock on Aiden, but do yourself a favor and look at Aiden Hutchinson's run defense grade. And where does he end up? And I think you'll be maybe surprised to see that Aiden Hutchinson against the run is not great. And I think a lot of that boils down to over pursuit and lack of arm length. The same thing is held true for everybody. And I don't care who it is. I'll take 10 edge rushers and take 10 with short arms and marry that up or weigh that against, to 10 with, prototypical arm length, 33 or better, 33 and a half is preferred. And who's going to be best against the run? I'm willing to bet anything that the 10 with prototypical size arms are going to be much better against the run. I know it sounds silly. Will, it's just a couple of inches. It matters. It matters because when you're engaged and you can't get off, the tackle or the guard or whatever, and you can't reach to, yank that running back even with one arm or to slow him up with one arm. This is a game of inches. It's always been a game of inches. And what people think that means is just a game of inches, trying to get that first down. Well, that's part of it. The other game of inches, are you able to slow that guy down running through the hole with an outstretched arm, or are you a couple of inches short? That's the difference. So it matters to me. Now, this next one, Caden McDonald, number 28, defensive tackle, Ohio State. 6'2", 310 pounds, 65 tackles, 31 solo, 33 sacks, 9 TFLs, 3 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, or batted passes, 26 stops, 13.8% run stop rate. This dude is phenomenal against the run. Phenomenal against the run, and I think that he has a good pass rush upside. It might take him a little bit of time, but I think it lives there. Low grades against the pass rush. I mean, if you put another key stat in here, he has a 4% pass rush win rate, and that's not good. Oops, it's not caps either. That's not good. Like that's a red flag for me. But the more I watch the guy, I think that he can disrupt on the interior. Maybe it's not getting to the quarterback all the time, but I think that he's going to be able to live in the backfield, disrupting the running backs enough to cause turnovers or to cause TFLs, and be part of that problem. But he is a concrete wall, man. The guy is immovable in the middle of a defense. He's a nose tackle that demands double teams, still finds a way to disrupt the backfield. He plays with natural leverage of a wrestler, getting under the pads of centers and guards to collapse the pocket from the inside out. His 4.5 sacks are impressive for a zero tech, but he's proved that he offers a little bit of pass rush upside beyond just stuffing the run. He is the foundational piece to many teams, I think, that are going to allow linebackers to flow freely. And this is what you want. Like when you bring in a guy like Tyleik Williams, this is what you're looking for. You want those linebackers to be able to hit those holes and have an opportunity to close those gaps. And it's exactly what we're hoping Tyleik Williams is going to bring to the table this year. And a healthy Ali McNeil is you're going to see more involvement from the Lions linebackers in the pass rush game, or even shooting the gaps and getting in and stopping the run. He does the dirty work, man, and it doesn't always show up in the box score, but he wins football games. I really thought he was impressive this last season. Some of his numbers are not the greatest. I think part of that is he's living in the middle of a defense, and anytime that you're doubled up, it's pretty hard to enter the box score. Ask DJ Reader. He does a lot of the dirty work. It never shows up. But the guy to the left and to the right or behind him, that's where the numbers show up. I love his war paint. I love his war paint. He does something kind of different every game, but I love the war paint of Cade McDonald. He gets an A+ score just for that. This next guy, KC Concepcion, number 27, wide receiver, Texas A&M, 5'11", 190, 61 catches, 919, 15.1 yards per reception, 9 TDs, Oh, what am I doing here? 9 TDs. There we go. 9 TDs. 66.7% contested catch rate is beyond elite. 456 punt return yards. This guy's going to be able to return punts, affect that third phase of the game right away. 111.8 passer rating when targeted is very good. And 14 forced missed tackles. This guy will make you miss in a phone booth. 79.9 run grade, 78.4 overall. Paul Hornung Award winner is a positionless weapon who redefined his draft stock after transferring to Texas A&M. Concepcion is a high-velocity slot threat with elite short area suddenness, averaging 7.2 yards after the catch. That amount of yak is crazy. And forcing 14 missed tackles this season, while his 5'11" frame and lack of elite top-end speed can limit him in pure vertical shells. His 2.63 yards per route run against man coverage proves that he is a surgical separator. And that's probably the most important thing that you're looking for with some of these smaller guys is, can they separate? He's tactical in spatial awareness. I think that he erases the ability for corners and safeties to stick with him because he is so sudden. Doesn't have elite long speed, but I think that suddenness is what you're looking for, that explosive vision to turn those utility throws into those cinematic highlights. He can definitely do that. A couple of big red flags, though. 10.3% drop rate. 7 drops on 111 targets. Not great. That is not great at all. So my bigger concern may show up this week in testing when he's running the gauntlet. We'll see how he's able to handle the quick fire. 26 is wide open. Like I said, you're getting the unproof version, and I left one spot open because I'm not settled on a couple of guys, or I might have to move everybody up a little bit. Lee Hunter, defensive tackle, Texas Tech at 25, 6'4", 330 pounds. What time is it? I gotta fly. I got like 17 minutes left, and I gotta go. 41 tackles, 16 solo, 10.5 TFLs, 2.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 14 games played last year, 10.6% pass rush win rate, 11.9% run stop win rate, 25 pressures, 16 stops, 19 hurries. This is elite stuff right here. Lee Hunter is one of my more favorite defensive tackles in this draft. 82.7 run defense grade, 74.3 pass rush grade, 80.5 overall. This is where he is going to be elite. I say it in 2 words: run plugger. Like, this guy is going to eat up the middle. He is not going to allow anyone to run on him. He's a wide-bodied run stopper, anchors the interior with 34.25-inch arms. Why is he so good against the run? What did I just say a few minutes ago? The guys with the longer arms are much better against the run. Plus, he has a 330-pound frame, and he's 6'4". His wingspan is really good too. He anchors those trenches, man. He's a dominant force at the point of attack. He validated that run defense grade at the Senior Bowl. He consistently was displacing 320-pound guards. And while his pass rush repertoire is a little bit light, needs some development, I think that he's reliant upon a really good bull rush. He collapses the pocket with structural integrity, or he collapses the pocket structural integrity with power, elite upper body strength, and uses a very quick first step to make him a projected second-round lock. I think he might end up in the first, but he is the 25th best overall player on my board right now. Number 24, look for this guy's name to be announced by the Detroit Lions. If it's not in the first round, it could be in the second. Dylan Thieneman. This guy, his tape is polished. Really fun guy to watch. 96 tackles last season, 44 solo, 3.5 TFLs, 1 sack, 5 pass breakups, 2 interceptions. That's a solid year. 17.2% forced, 8.3%. Hold on. There he is. All right, 8.3% missed tackle rate, 66.2 passer rating when targeted, 91.1. Where's that at? I don't think I have it on here. 91.1 coverage grade on one PFF metric. Let me just double check something real quick. PFF has like 2 different sets of stats, and I don't know why, but when you look at their mock draft, it has a different set of numbers. Like, it has his overall grade as a 91 on the mock draft profile, but then when you look at his regular profile, it has him as 89.9. That doesn't make any sense. It also has his coverage grade as a 90.5 in the regular profile, but then it has his coverage grade as a 91.1 on the draft profile. So little weird. I don't know why there's so many inconsistencies on PFF. That's why I don't put a ton of stock in it. But what I do put stock in is watching this guy on the field, that forced incompletion rate, the forced IR there. That's ungodly, right? It really is. He's like I said here, he's a high IQ tactical eraser. He's amassed over 300 career tackles, which means he's in the right spot at the right time, right? He's making plays. Or the front seven of that defense was terrible, and he had to clean up everything, which was not the case. Voice of God instincts. I know it's not a highly utilized metaphor, but he has instincts. And what I mean by the voice of God is like something is speaking to him when he's on the field, because whatever's speaking to him, he knows where to be. And he gets there instinctually and on time. He possesses that rare range to rotate from the box to a single high post. He mirrors routes, very fluid back pedal. This guy is going to be one of those gimbaled hips guys at the combine this week. Scouts desire more physical stopping power at the point of attack, but he's very savvy. Pre-snap processing and ball skills consistently kill offensive drives. I really like this guy a lot, and excuse me. I hope that what I'm seeing is going to test well. And I know that safety is not the sexy pick for the Lions this year. If he slips to the second round, something tells me he may not. I think the door's wide open for the Lions this year. I really do. He's not going to slip to 50. I couldn't even imagine him slipping to 50. And I hope that Brad doesn't stay at 50. I hope somehow we get back up closer into the top 40s. Because that's where we're going to find, two really good compliments to this defense. I gotta go through a couple of these. I'm gonna pick and choose which ones I really go through. But Caleb Lomu. By the way, I got new ears today. They're not in right now, but I will have them this week. So I was having a lot of hearing issues, partially because I got something going on with my ears anyway. But my ears kept crapping out on me. So hopefully I can hear better this week. Lomu, left tackle. At least that's where he played in college. I have no idea where he's going to end up. He's projecting to be a left tackle. 2 hits, 6 hurries on the season, 4 penalties, 8 pressures allowed, 823 snaps out of 12 games. Low pressure rate, 0 sacks, solid pass block grade. 62 run block grade, 82.1 pass block grade, 65.6 again in the zone. And his gap was 58.6. So not great, in the gap. And this is why, again, if we're thinking that Drew Petzing is going to bring more of a gap style of a run game, he doesn't fit, at least not right now. And maybe the Lions look at some of these, guys, their tape and says something totally different, or they feel something totally different, or they see something totally different than, an independent guy like myself does. You have some of the best scouts in the world, doing this for a living, and they see things. I just don't see it. And my biggest worry, again, for a tackle is right up here at the top, 295 pounds. Great. You could move in space right now. But what happens when the next team asks you to put on 25 pounds? How is that going to translate? Are you going to be able to move? It's a little bit different when you're asking a wide receiver to add 10 or 15 pounds or a running back to add 10 or 15 pounds versus an offensive lineman who is already historically slow to put on 25 pounds. I think he's extremely light at 295. So we'll see where he comes in this week. And here's what usually happens. All of these guys are dropping weight because they want to run fast. the 40 for, they want to run fast. What is their number going to be when they put on weight? Reliable anchor against, Lomu is the reliable anchor opposite of Spencer Fano, giving Utah the best tackle duo in college football. He is a technician who wins with consistent footwork. I'll give him that. Has good hand placement. He rarely gets caught out of position. He's not flashy. He's not athletic, like Fano is. He's a little bit more steady, I guess, if you will. He executed his assignments with a workman-like efficiency. He projects as a plug-and-play right tackle who can step in immediately and keep a quarterback clean. Now, you're saying, Will, he played left tackle. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I see him moving over to the right. I don't think his skills are as good as they need to be on the left side. Caleb Lomu, to me, is a right tackle all day. We'll see what happens, but when I put out my finals, when we get closer to the draft, we always compare that to the next season. Where did they go? For instance, what did I say about Will Campbell last year? I think I have a pretty decent eye when it comes to some of these players' positions. Offensive line is one of them. And last year, I did not like Will Campbell for one of the biggest reasons was the short arms. And ahead of the Super Bowl, and you can check Twitter, I put it out there, he was going to get thrashed. And that's exactly what they did. Will Campbell got put on skates, and he was thrashed the entire game. And the biggest reason why? His short arms. His short arms allow those edge defenders to get up in his chest, move him around, or go up underneath him because he's just not quick enough and didn't have, the arms to be able to get in front of those guys, and stab them with a long arm and hit them with a quick punch to push them off their step. He didn't have the power to do that either. So when I say I see some of this stuff showing up, for Caleb Lomu, I do. I mean, his little snapshot there sounds great, but his overall run blocking is poor. In that 58.6, not 8. Run blocking grade in the gap, I think, is consistent with that, where in the gap scheme, you're looking for more power. You're down blocking. In the zone, where his zone grade was a little bit better, not much, at 65.6, you're asking him to be a little bit more fleet of foot, right? You're asking him to pull a little bit more and do things in space. And again, I think that his 295-pound weight is indicative of why he's able to do some of those things now. I do not think it translates, and I think he'll be on the right side. Jordan Tyson, wide receiver, Arizona State. This guy, 43.8 contested catch rate, 1.6% drop rate, 108.2 passer rating when targeted, and just fun guy to watch, man. Recurring injury history, though, is significant. This is my biggest red flag for Jordan Tyson. I have him at 22 right now, and quite honestly, that's probably going to slide. I'm not sure where he is compared to other, analysts top 50, but that injury history is scary. I don't know that I could trust it at the next level. But if not for those nagging injuries, he might have been the undisputed number one going into this draft. In just 9 games, I think that he proved he's a vertical arsonist. He consistently is taking the top off of defenses with that my ball mentality. Like he goes, he hunts for it, he gets it, he pulls it out of the clouds. Very, very elite skills in such a small package at 6'1", 195. He thrives in chaos. He turns underthrown balls into touchdowns and broken plays into explosive gains. He's twitchy. He's a sudden athlete. He separates instantly at the line of scrimmage. The medical checks at the combine are going to be critical, but on tape, he is an explosive player, and in just one explosive play waiting to happen after another. So his catch radius defies the 6'1" frame. I mean, he's operating like he's 6'5". He's fun to watch, man. He is lightning in a bottle. He really is. I just worry about the injuries. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, this is one that is high on my list for the Lions. Look, last year I said Amenawari needed to be in Detroit's locker room. They didn't listen. I don't know why they didn't listen. Probably because they don't listen to this channel. But they didn't listen, and Amenawari ended up becoming the next best safety for the next decade. That guy was incredibly fun to watch during the playoffs and the Super Bowl. He does everything. He's an eraser of everything. Put him anywhere on the field. Small linebacker, slot, nickel, doesn't matter. Deep, man, zone. I don't care where you put Amenawari, and I don't care where you put McNeil Warren either. 77 tackles, 36 solo, 5 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, 5.5 TFLs, 1 sack. He can do absolutely everything that Amenawari could do. And he can play that small linebacker role. He is so fun and so vicious, so violent, the way that he plays the game. I expect him to be taken in the top 20. I really do. Could be the Lions. Could be. Forced completion rate, 33.3%. FIR. Forced incompletion rate. Usually I write that with forced. But 15.5 missed tackle rate. Okay, that's a problem. All right, that's a problem for me. It's a red flag. But 50.3 passer rating when targeted is not. So I'm going to allow this when I see these two numbers. Okay, he's just not. The missed tackle rate, it'll get better. I really believe that. He needs some technical refinement like everybody does. This 92.1 overall grade is exactly what it should be. That 91.8 cover grade, you don't see that very often. The 59.6 pass rush grade, I could care less about. Even though, I'm sorry, hold on. Let me make sure I got him in here. Make sure I got it correct. I think I do. Yeah, 59.6 pass rush grade. I could care less about it because you put him anywhere else on the field and he's elite. If you're going to use them against, on the pass rush downs, then, or as a pass rusher, if you're going to send them in, I'm less concerned than maybe others would be. It's just not a number that I care a whole lot about for corners, nickels, safeties, but I guess each defense is a little bit different. 86.5 run defense grade. So all of these numbers are great. McNeil Warren is a heat-seeking missile from the MAC who plays with a violence that pops off the tape. He is a versatile safety who thrives in the box, attacking the run with the ferocity of a linebacker. His 99th percentile run defense grade is no fluke. He diagnoses plays instantly and arrives at the ball carrier with bad intentions. In coverage, he shows the range to play deep half and the instincts to jump routes. He is a sleeper prospect who could rise quickly as teams fall in love with his physical play style. Testing. When he tests extremely well this week, he's going to fly up the boards. Last year, Amenawari, I believe, fell out of the first round. That was a big mistake. If my memory is correct. Olavavega Lone, Penn State guard, 6'4", 348. This guy's massive. He's a load. No hits, no sacks allowed, only 4 hurries and 1 penalty in 2025. 38 pancakes. And no, I don't mean he ate 38 at one sitting. He probably could. But 38 pancake blocks. Like, this guy will drive you into the dirt. There's a term that we use that I can't say on here, but he is a phone booth brawler. This guy will put it in the dirt all day long. Rare level of violence at interior offensive line at nearly 350 pounds. He's definitely immovable, and he can actually move. He absorbs bull rushes with ease. I mean, he's kind of like one of those guys where someone had told me about Caden Proctor, and we'll talk about this in a minute, but that Caden allows, edge rushers to kind of get into his frame a little bit. Olavavega is kind of the same way, but there's a reason for it. You know what that reason is? Because he's not being moved. At 350 pounds, you can't move the guy. So if you allow somebody to get up into your frame, that's because they want to lock you in, and you can't move. So you got to keep that in mind when we look at all of the different ways these players play. I think that is one thing that shows up a little bit more with lighter, agile guys. They try to stab arm you and keep you away, right? They get that long arm and they kind of poke you and they let you widen that arc off the edge. For Caden, he can do that as well as let you come in and he just locks and it's over. His run blocking tape, talking about Vega, it pops. He displaces defensive tackles against their will. He'll clear lanes with force like a snowplow, man. He isn't just a mauler, though. He plays with surprise lateral quickness for his size. Like, I was surprised. I had to go back and watch a couple of reps multiple times just to really understand, which I don't understand, how these guys that are this big can move the way that they do. He fits the mold of that new age power guard who could reset the line of scrimmage on his own terms. Keem Messidor, lock him in for Detroit if he's available at 17. I think that the Lions are going to do a double take depending on who's there. He's special, man. Honestly, I feel he was the better edge in Miami. I know you're going to think I'm nuts, and I didn't rank him that way because he would think I'm nuts. But when I watch his tape, there's just something about him that is different. And it's like, compare them side by side, it's just different. 20.8 pass rush win rate, that doesn't happen very often. 55 pressures, that doesn't happen very often. 42 hurries, 21 stops, all elite. His grades, all elite, all in the 90s. He's a versatile wrecking ball. He creates chaos from multiple alignments. He can play alongside. He played alongside Reuben Bain Jr. He proved that he could win one-on-one matchups against guards and tackles. He plays with a relentless motor, heavy hands. He uses natural leverage to disrupt blocking schemes. While injuries have been a part of his story, I think it's a little lesser of the extent. His tape in 2025 shows a very powerful disruptor who fits any defensive scheme. The thing that I think will separate him from most at this position, and there's the reason why he was one of the first write-ups that I did, is I think he has it from the neck up. I really do, from the shoulder up. I really think he's a smart guy. Listening to the interview that we watched the other day, I think that you really gather how intelligent that he is, how well-spoken he is. He thinks before he speaks, and not everybody does that, including myself. There's more to Messidor than meets the eye. And I really feel like when teams get a chance to interview him this week, they're gonna fall in love with the guy. It's going to be really hard to keep him out of the top 20. Unless he does something nuts and does not test well, then I don't know. I don't know why he wouldn't end up in the top 20. Peter Woods, another fun guy to watch, but his pass rush win rate, not exceptional, but for a defensive tackle, it's acceptable. His run stop grade, though, is elite. 21 stops overall in the middle. Red flag for me on this guy is 18.8% missed tackle rate. Like, that's huge. Career 17.6. Peter Woods, he might test well this week, and I think that's what we're looking for. Is he that bowling ball of destruction that dominates the interior with that power and the ability to move? Okay, that'll probably show up. But why the missed tackle rate? How can you explain that? And you know what I don't have? I don't have arm length. I had no idea what his arm length is. So we'll see how some of that stuff lines up. But he's number 18. I got to fly. So number 17, Caden Proctor. Offensive tackle, Alabama, 6'7", 369, 985 snaps last year. Only allowed 4 hits, 2 sacks, 2 penalties, 19 pressures in 15 games. 70.3 gap grade. 83.6 zone grade. He has one of the higher gap grades out of all prospects. He's what I call the solar eclipse. You guys love my metaphors, don't you? You know what a solar eclipse is, right? This dude's 369 pounds. You put the sun behind him, he's going to block it out. Just like everything else in front of him. He's going to block it out. He's a massive human who simply blocks out the sun for defenders. After a rocky freshman campaign and a brief transfer portal mishap, he returned to Alabama. And then he transformed into a dominant a dominant tackle. His 369-pound frame makes him nearly impossible to bull rush. Let me clean this one up too. But his surprising nimbleness, which was highlighted the other day by the video I showed you of his workout, allowed him to climb to the second level and erase linebackers, which is probably the more intriguing part of his ability. While he still can get caught leaning against elite speed, his raw power and size make him a tantalizing prospect for teams that want to physically impose their will in the run game. Well, what do the Lions want to do? The Lions want to run the ball. And I think when you add a guy like this to the left side of your line, you're not only getting someone that is immovable, but you're getting someone that can move. And you're getting someone that is scheme diverse. He can do anything. I don't know why Daniel Jeremiah doesn't have Caden Proctor. I don't even know if he's in his top 50. But he didn't mention Caden Proctor's name at all when asked, okay, if edge is not the position, what tackles make sense? And Blake Miller comes up. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Freeling comes up. Why is that? Is he sandbagging? I think he is. Because Caden Proctor, if he tests terribly, well, then I think we get our answer. But I don't think he's going to test bad. I hope he doesn't. And I hope he drops a few pounds too. I hope he comes in closer to 350. If he comes in closer to 350 and he runs good, then I think we get our answer. But Caden Proctor at 17. Jermod McCoy, he's probably going to drop. I might put him at 26. Look, I just can't trust it right now. Even though I wrote up a little, nice little article about him. I had some information wrong in there. I don't know why, but I did. But going back to 24, this is where you understand who he is as a player. Okay. After transferring from Oregon, to the SEC, McCoy proved he wasn't just a Pac-12 product. He was a legitimate quarterback one. I believe that he had that ability and that he has that ability still. He's on the perimeter. He can erase the routes, right? He can jump the routes. He's got the mentality to do it. He uses his length to his benefit, his instincts. They do suffocate receivers at the line of scrimmage, but he allows a passer rating that is just incredible at 62.5. Good recovery speed, but I have to see it, right? And we haven't seen anything since 24. He turns 50-50 balls into turnovers, or he did in 24. I think the reason why I have to drop him a little bit is if he's the 2024 player that he was, the 16 pass breakups, the 6 interceptions over his career, the 42 solo tackles, those are career stats. Those aren't 25. If he's that kind of a player in 26, then yeah, he's a top 20 pick. I don't know that he is. I haven't seen it. If I were to put a red flag for him, which I better put one in there. It's quite simple. Who is he in 2026? Oops. Okay. Denzel Boston, one of the most intriguing wide receivers in the class. 76.9% contested catch rate is just wow. Only 3% drop, 112 passer rating when targeted. Exceptional. The dude can do it all. He's a skyscraper out there at 6'4", 207 pounds. Even though he's not a burner, right, per se, he doesn't have elite vertical speed. We'll see how he tests this week. Again, he turns those 50-50 balls into 80-20 wins. That's what he does out there. And I think that he kind of gives quarterbacks a bailout. You throw it up, I'm going to go get it kind of a guy. He also works back towards his quarterbacks. When his quarterback's under duress, Denzel Boston has that mental knowledge or mental awareness, if you will, to know, hey, I got to get back. I got to give my quarterback an option, a bailout. He's really good at doing that. Denzel Boston might be one of the best receivers in this class by far. Right now he's at 15. I have Kenyon Sadiq in front of him, though, and there's a reason for that. This isn't your grandfather's tight end. right? I know that's another loose metaphor, but he's a matchup king, weaponized for the modern spread offense. He's the winner of the Big Ten Tight End of the Year award. He's he functions less as an inline blocker, though. He's kind of that Kyle Pitts style, more of a big slot receiver who tormented linebackers and safeties. His 8 touchdowns led all tight ends in the conference. He really showcased an ability to stretch the seam vertically and win contested catches in the red zone. He's still developing as a true inline blocker, and that's going to take some time. I don't know if it's going to be a big part of his game going forward, but he has explosive athleticism. He allows offensive coordinators to really dictate those personnel matchups. He is someone that is probably going to go to a 13 personnel type team, and what you'll notice is going to jump off the page: 145.5 passer rating when targeted. That's just crazy. Crazy fun to watch. Biggest red flag, 6 drops, 10.5% drop rate. That's the biggest red flag. Some of that stuff could probably get cleaned up. 58.3% contested catch rate. Those are the types of things that you want. When I watched him, I noticed just a big receiver out there. I can't wait to see how he tests speed-wise, because if he gets under 4.5, I think he flies up the board. 4.5 is where I want to see him, or better. Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver, USC, 6 foot 190, 66.7 contested catch rate, 2.5% drop rate, and again, 130 passer rate when targeted. In a USC offense searching for new identity, Lemon really emerged as the ultimate stabilizer in this offense. He isn't a physical, imposing specimen, but what he is a slot surgeon. No more the slot merchant. That's yesterday's news. He's a slot surgeon. The guy is an operator. He really is. He'll dissect the zone coverages with precision of a 10-year vet, and he makes them pay for it. His superpower is understanding leverage. He knows exactly when to sit down in soft spots and how to manipulate safety angles to create yards after the catch. He proved to be the quarterback safety blanket on third down, converting 65% of his targets into first downs. And he may not blow up the combine with 4.3 speed, but his tape reveals game speed that is functionally faster than his peers because he wastes zero movement. Who does that sound like? The same guy that came out of USC. This is St. Brown number 2. Like, legit, this is St. Brown number 2. And I'm not just saying that because he went to USC. I'm saying that because you go watch their game tapes, and they are so similar. They are so similar. USC learned what St. Brown was all about pretty quickly. And then here's probably the big shocker. Fernando Mendoza at number 12. I get it. He's the best quarterback in coming into the league this year. I'm not impressed with this quarterback class at all. I am impressed with what Mendoza did. He has some very raw traits. He is not as polished as I would like to see, but he is fairly polished in dissecting defenses. He has elite processing speed, which is a big part of this, right? 72% completion rate, which is tough to do. Scouts are going to nitpick his pure arm strength compared to past quarterback ones. His tape reveals kind of that matrix level ability to manipulate the pocket space and then deliver contested throws with anticipation. The problem is, he's throwing these too many contested balls out there. He does operate with the poise of a 10-year vet. I'll give him that. And the dude can take a lick and keep on ticking. But is he just a game manager? Maybe. Or is he that architect of the next championship style of a team? I'm not really sure. All I know is that in this draft, when you need a quarterback, he's the best one available. Now, his key traits are pretty positive. I'll say that. But again, this is all about the best athletes, right? And where you have them ranked. His intermediate grade, 92.2. His passing grade overall, 90.7. His deep passing grade, 93.4. When he's not pressured, 91.7. When he is pressured, 70.6. Those are all things that would tell you he's elite at what he does. And I think that he handled the pressure phenomenally this year. And he does have that level of nerd that, we've talked about many a times. When Travis Kelce said that, Patrick Mahomes has that nerd to him and you need some nerd to be a really great quarterback. Fernando has that. He's a little gimmicky. I think he has the ability. I hope he doesn't turn out to be that next overhyped quarterback. And if Tom Brady has anything to do with it, and if he gets his claws into this guy, Tom might see the next mold of what he was in Fernando Mendoza, and that could be the best thing that ever happened to a guy like Fernando, where if Tom is actually out there working with the guy, I wouldn't be surprised if he does. Quite honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. He's just not better than the other 11 guys in front of him. Keldrick Falk, defensive end, Auburn, 6'6", 288, 29 tackles, 5 TFLs, 2 sacks, 30 pressures, 4 PBUs, 1 forced fumble recovery, 11.6 pass rush win rate, 8.6 against the run, and 27 hurries with 23 stops last season. This dude is a length weapon. My biggest red flag is the missed tackle rate, 10%. Highest rate over 3 seasons. He overwhelms offensive tackles. I'll give him that. At nearly 290 pounds with vines for arms. Like his arms, if they're not over 34 inches, I'm going to be surprised. He isn't twitchy, but he's a bulldozer. He'll walk linemen back into the quarterback's lap. He reaches around and he pulls the quarterback down. I can't tell you how many times he did that this last season. He has some versatility that allows him to slide inside on passing downs. I think that he mocks perfectly as a 4-3 defensive end. And even, as that 5 technique, he can play really any defensive front, but I really believe he's more that 4-3. I'm not sure that he's going to be a top 11 pick, but I think he's the number 11 best athlete in the class. Mansour Delane, 6'1", 180. I wish his weight was a little bit more. It might be, when he gets into the NFL for a couple of seasons, he'll get stronger. He'll add more, muscle weight as opposed to just regular weight. But 89.1 man cover grade, elite. 76.7 zone cover grade, elite. 31.3 passer rating when targeted. I don't know if I've ever seen a number that low since Devon Witherspoon. I think his number was eerily reminiscent of that same number. PFF had him 74.4 against the run, 66.4 against the pass, 90.7 in coverage, and 90.5 overall. He transferred to LSU, which is known as DBU. He stepped into the spotlight, delivered a clinic in technical coverage. He operates as a shadow technician. He utilizes fluid hips, could be gimbaled. We'll find out. Elite route recognition to mirror receivers step for step. He rarely looks panicked. He always looks like he's under control. He plays with that real calm heartbeat. He's trusting his technique to keep him in phase, even against elite speed. While he isn't the most physical tackler in the class, again, I think that's referenced by his weight. His coverage consistency is his bankable trait here. He is the type of corner who effectively erases his side of the field, forcing quarterbacks to look elsewhere. I couldn't find a whole lot that was bad on him. That's why he's number 10. Number 9, Francis Mauigoa. Offensive tackle or guard. Could he make the flip? Well, we'll see. Guy's a people mover, 1,000%. With over 2,700 career snaps at right tackle. He has been the anchor of that Miami offensive line. Let me pull him up. Let's see. He had, over 2,700 snaps at right tackle, 1,022 last season. 75.4 in the gap, 74.3 against the zone. He's a do-it-all. Yeah, he can, whatever you need him to do, he's going to be able to do it. Some scouts view him as a potential all-pro guard, and that's why I'm wondering if he's going to make the switch and go on the inside. I don't know if that's the best move for him, but I think that between him and his coach, and they'll figure that out. I think wherever he goes, he's going to be phenomenal at guard or right tackle. I don't see him flipping to left, though. I don't see him flipping to the left side. Now, whether he plays tackle or guard, I think that he brings that nastiness as a finisher 100% of the time, and it really changes the temperature of an offensive line room immediately. He's fun to watch. Carnell Tate, the best receiver in the draft. Not even close. Does he have some things that I don't like? Sure. But overall, 85.7% contested catch rate. Come on. 0 drops and 150.5 passer rating when targeted. I have never seen numbers like this. I hope the numbers are right, as far as what other people are putting down, because I can't go watch every snap. But 92.2 in the run game, 90.3 overall, 75.2 versus man. Ohio State continues to be wide receiver U, and Tate is the latest polished gem from the Brian Hartline assembly line, if you will. While a freshman phenom, Jeremiah Smith, grabbed headlines, it was Tate who served as the offense's tactical nuke, averaging 17.2 yards per catch. He is a geometry teacher on the field, manipulating defensive backs' leverage with subtle head fakes before snapping off routes with clinical precision. He possesses very late hands and deceives the coverage in outstanding body control along the sideline. More than just a finesse player here. I think that Tate happily hunts defensive backs in the run game. He shows his ability to block, which is that grit. It's the first time you've heard me say that word today. That NFL coaches demand of their wide receivers. He's going to be exceptional. Number 7, Spencer Fano. I had a hard time with this one. Spencer Fano may drop. It was kind of hard putting him above Maui Goa. I have to see this guy test this week, and I have to apologize. I'm not up on any of the latest news over the last probably 48 hours. If anyone has mentioned who's running, who's not, or who's doing this, who's doing that, I'll find out when I get there. 0 hits, 0 sacks. Only allowed 5 hurries and had 5 penalties out of 12 games, 822 snaps last season. Fano's probably the most polished of all the offensive linemen. He's that dancing bear in the trenches. He's a tackle that marries NFL size with that light-footed agility of a tight end. Again, I gotta watch, where he's going to test this week and just how good is he really going to be, gap versus zone. But he's equally as good on both sides. Elite ability by this kid. He plays with a patient knee bend and independent hands that really prevent defenders from getting into his chest. He is one that pitter-pats, tries to keep guys away from him. But he's also another one that when you get in on him, if he does lock in, you're typically not going to get away. But I still think his functional strength could use some help, especially against some of the more elite bull rushes. But his movement skills are what make him a perfect fit for the wide zone schemes, which is more of the modern NFL, but he can do either. He can absolutely do either. Number 6, Ruben Bain, 23.5% pass rush win rate, 6.9% against the run, 31 stops, 54 hurries last season. Biggest red flag, and it's not even close. 18.8% missed tackle rate. How big are his arms, right? What's the length of his arms? That is my biggest question. At 6'3", 275, he's perfect height, perfect, weight. If his arm length is small, then that could be the reason why his missed tackle rate is high. Or if his mental capacity and awareness is a little bit slower, then that could be why his missed tackle rate is so high. However, there's 2 different numbers here. I have 15.5 TFLs, and I believe PFF has 18.5. If I'm not mistaken. Either way, I'll fix that. We'll just roll with one number. Oops. And we'll figure it out. But either way, whether it's 15.5 or 18.5 TFLs, that does speak to a player that lives in the backfield. And whether his missed tackle rate is high or not, if you're making plays in the backfield and that allows the rest of your team to finish the tackle, then great. But I want him to knock him down on the first opportunity. It's great if you can get in the backfield, but if you can't make the play, then you're a little bit more of a liability from that perspective, right? Because then you've left your edge wide open. But he is a pocket collapser. I think that he doesn't just chase stats. I think that he ruins the structural integrity of the offensive line with his size and his ability. Honestly, between him and Messidor, I kind of have him in the same boat. I really do. And there's a separation of what, 12 spots? 13 spots between them. I don't think you could go wrong with either, to be honest with you. Number 5, David Bailey, another edge, Texas Tech, 6'3", 250, more of your speed guy. 52 tackles, 14.5 sacks, 19.5 TFLs. You guys notice the common denominator here is TFLs. These guys are winning with TFLs. 73 pressures last season, 3 forced fumbles, 3 pass breakups. Key stat for me was 21.6 pass rush grade, 9% run stop rate, 32 stops, 42 hurries. Overall, 93.3 pass rush grade, 92.4 overall, 76.4 run defense grade. Again, missed tackle rate, 20.7, career 15.8. It's a big concern for me. Should be a concern for anybody. Bailey isn't a win with speed only rusher. He deconstructs offensive tackles with a diverse portfolio of hand fighting moves and a lethal ghost rush. His ability to convert speed to power allows him to collapse the pocket even when he doesn't get home. He is a closer in the truest sense. He's a player who wins, whose win rate really increases in the fourth quarter. I think Aiden does the same thing, right? Sometimes he shows up in the fourth quarter, sometimes he doesn't. But what Bailey does that's different is he wins all game long, but he shows up even more in the fourth quarter. He led the nation with 14.5 sacks last year. He showcased a technical refinement that is just light years ahead of this class. Again, arm length. I got to know where it's at. We'll find out this week. Number 4, Arvell Reese, linebacker, Ohio State, 6'4", 243. 69 tackles, 6.5 sacks, 10 TFLs, 2 PBUs, 0 interceptions, 23 pressures, 30 stops, key stat, 100.9 passer rate when targeted, 6% missed tackle rate. That's pretty damn good. Let me pull him up real quick. Now, Ohio State's going to have like 4 or 5 guys go in that first round. It's nuts. Couldn't even win their own division. Run defense grade 86.5. The coverage grade though is lacking. This 55.5. Now it says it's 56.6. I don't know why it changes overnight. The missed tackle rate's elite. The pass rush grade is quasi elite. It's almost there. I like to see that number above 75 at least. But he's a prototype for the positionless violence that's demanded by the modern NFL defenses. Consensus All-American in 25. He functioned less as a traditional linebacker and more of a heat-seeking missile deployed to erase the mistakes. His 6.5 sacks proved that he can put his hand in the dirt and win off the edge, but his tape shows a player who can seamlessly drop in the zone coverage and erase tight ends down the seam. He plays with that Glenville High School toughness that rattles the teeth on contact. This dude's a hitter. He's a straight up hitter, and his arm length is definitely there. He's got like noodles for arms, man. I want to brush him up a little bit too. Number 3, Caleb Downs. I don't think there's any explanation needed. 7.7 forced incompletion rate. 11.5% missed tackles, way too high. 47.9 passer rating when passer rate allowed or passer rating when targeted. I'll fix him up too. All right. Downs just isn't a safety. He's a defensive computer processing the game in real time. Widely considered the smartest defensive player in the draft. His tape reveals a player who diagnoses plays before the snap. Whether triggering downhill to fill the run gaps like a linebacker or erasing the deep halves like a center fielder, he plays without hesitation. He has NFL bloodlines. The son of Gary, the brother of Josh, are evident in his preparation habits. He doesn't miss tackles. He does, but he doesn't. He doesn't blow coverages, and he turns 50-50 balls into turnovers. He's just the type of foundational piece that I think you can build an entire secondary around. Whether he goes number 3 or he goes at number 10 is yet to be determined, but he is the third best player. Now, the next 2, they're going to surprise you, because who my number 1 is, well, that's where we're going to go next. Jeremiah Love, running back, Notre Dame. I know what you're saying. A running back? Yep, a running back. I have no idea if he's going to run. I have no idea what he's going to do in testing. But here's what I'm going to tell you. The next Jahmyr Gibbs that has more power is right here. 127.5 elusiveness grade. 56 forced missed tackles. 4.5 yards after contact. The guy is insanely gifted. Only 1 fumble last year on 163 carries. He had 18 rush touchdowns, 3 receptions, 21 touchdowns last season. He might be the most terrifying pure athlete at the position since Jahmyr Gibbs. While his volume stats don't scream the workhorse, remember you got Jadarian Price here too, his efficiency screams touchdown. Love averaged a staggering 6.9 yards per carry, turning routine off-tackle runs into 70-yard track meets. He runs with a violent fluidity, capable of lowering his shoulder into a linebacker in the hole and then hitting a gear in the open field that makes defensive backs look like they are running in quicksand. His ability to line up in the slot, 27 catches, makes him the perfect modern chess piece. He isn't just a runner; he is an offensive coordinate. He is an offensive coordinate system. He's special. He's very special, and that's why he's number 1. He's number 1 because he's the best athlete in this draft. He's number 1 because instantly he's going to go to a team and make that team better. He's number 1 because when teams have passed on running backs forever in the first round, for whatever reason, they're not doing it anymore. You've seen a couple, over the last many seasons go early. And, Jahmyr Gibbs and what's his name? Bijan Robinson going at 6, Jahmyr Gibbs going at 12 in 2023 really kind of reset the pace. I think for NFL teams when they're looking at, how early can we grab a quarterback or how early should we grab a running back? Who's going to help my team the fastest? Who's going to do more for my team on day 1? And I think that's a big question that you have to answer this year. Unfortunately, the Raiders already grabbed their running back in GNT last year. So of course you're going to grab the wide receiver or grab the quarterback, excuse me. I don't like it. Personally, I wouldn't take Mendoza. I would take that number 1 pick and trade back, stack some picks with the way that this draft is looking. I would make my team better everywhere else, and I would bring in a free agent, and then I would go to the draft next year. It's exactly what I would do. But if they love Mendoza, they love Mendoza. I just see that there's other players that are going to make teams better from day 1, and Jeremiah Love is that guy. He is going to be a fun one to watch. I hope he tests this week. He doesn't need to, but I hope he does. Sonny Styles is at number 2. This guy's efficient. 6'4", 230 pounds, 82 tackles, 1 sack, 6.5 TFLs, 1 interception, 11 pressures. The amount of, the stat line here, it doesn't scream someone that you would think would be at number 2. But sometimes it's not all about the stats. The 38 stops is impressive, right? The 75.8 passer rate against is impressive. The 2.2% missed tackle rate is more impressive to me. I don't want someone that has all these numbers, right? Has all these big stats, but can't produce. You don't need to have all the big numbers because at the end of the day, they don't do anything for you if you miss a tackle. That saves a game. You miss a tackle, they lose as a championship, right? That's where I need a player to show up. And Sonny Styles is going to show up, and he's not going to miss the tackle. The fourth Buckeye in the top 7, potentially, could be. Not my top 7, but could be. Styles is a genetic anomaly who blurs the line between safety and linebacker. At 6'4", he moves with the fluidity of a corner, but he strikes with the weight of a defensive end. Ohio State deployed him everywhere. Slot, deep, box, edge, you name it. They put him all over the map. And he thrived. And he thrived in chaos. And he creates chaos. While he still is refining all of his instincts in the box, his ability to man up against elite tight ends and run with the running backs on wheel routes, I think it makes him the most invaluable when you look at a league today that is dominated by spread offenses. He is a matchup eraser. I mean, he can literally line up with anyone. And he's going to eliminate the mismatches that offensive coordinators try to create. I don't know that he's going to go at number 2. And as a matter of fact, I doubt he's going to go at number 2. And I hope he slips to 17. But that's not going to happen either. Unless something crazy happens over the next 48 hours, 72 hours, whatever it's going to be, he's going to be there in the top 10. That's my top 50. Top 50 1.0. It's going to change this week. Once we start, well, actually it's top 49 because I left 26 open. Right smack dab in the middle. I had to leave that one spot. It's just something I'm trying to do different. I was trying to pull the Brad Holmes, right? Trying to pull the Brad Holmes. You know how he leaves a spot open on his roster. I left the spot open on my roster. I'm going to go have some fun. Now I got to go figure out how to pack and get out of here in 21 minutes. That ain't going to happen. But I'm going to try. We're going to figure it out. Love and appreciate all of you guys for joining me today. Please catch us during the week. We're going to be doing Combine recap all week long. Eric and I will be there starting today, and then we will be heading back home on Monday. So we're going to spend a full week down in Indy. It is our first credentialed opportunity to be there. And, well, let's just hope that we can do a good job. Now, content-wise, look, I don't have a team of 50 people producing content, so we're going to do our best job with it. The audio will be captured for sure. I think Eric has enough audio equipment to cover NASA. I don't know. But the video equipment, you know, we'll do our best. I'm still learning this camera. I'm going to bring it. Probably won't use it. I'll probably use my phone for a lot. I think it does a pretty good job at capturing video. But most importantly, it's the prospects, right? That's what this week is all about. Dan and Brad are going to be fun being in the room, you know, for my first time ever being in the room. We'll see if I get a question. I don't even have a question ready yet. I got to really think about that on my way down. So I'm going to leave it up to you. In the comments of this video, please send me all the questions that you want to ask Dan and Brad. And if there's a great one in there, I'm going to pick it out, and that's what I'm going to use. And if I use that comment, then I'm going to send you something. I don't know what it is yet. I'll send you some sort of a $50 grab bag. So put your comments in the video after the live ends, and tell me what questions you would ask Dan or Brad at the Combine. Is it about the next player? Is it about the current roster? Is it about Brian Branch or Kirby Joseph? Is it about Taylor Decker? What is it? Is it about Marcus Davenport? I'm just kidding. Is it about Demo? Who is it about? Let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you guys later on this week. Pay attention to the post. That's where I'll keep you guys updated. Or on the Twitter, at Will Rock Jr., which I don't spend a lot of time there, but I will more this year. Let's go have some fun, man. It's Combine week. This is where football, for me, is the best. This is the funnest part of my year, even though it is so much work and not as much content. It's hard to get things right, and I spend a lot of time trying to get things right. This draft is, it's not making a lot of sense right now. I'll tell you that. This is one of the more difficult drafts that I've ever been a part of. The last couple of seasons, I kind of knew where the lines were going exactly. This year, I have no idea. And I'm comfortable saying that. because I could totally miss this year. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. All right, you guys take care. Check-ins at 4 p.m. Just so you know, Robbie. It's all good. All right, we'll see you guys later. Adios. Bye-bye. Pressured by